I think that says Phoenix Models or Phoenix Model. Now I want to say that, you know, this has been a nice flying airplane. So I want to say some positive things out here before I get into the negative. It's been in my opinion, it's been a pretty easy flying airplane when you got everything trimmed out and set correctly on your radio equipment. However, as an ARF model, this thing has some, well, I guess you could say some design issues that really should not be on an ARF plane. And we're just going to do a little bit of walk around and I'm going to talk about them a little bit. This turtle deck up here, as you can see, is pretty well gone. This is not from crashing. This is plastic and it just crumbles away with vibration, and also when you flip the airplane over to clean it, it just cracks like an eggshell. And what's funny, of course, I mean, that's bad enough as it is, but they made use that exact same plastic kind of stuff for wheel pants for your wheels. And my hats are off to any modeler who has been able to put those on and even use them for a little bit, because they just crumbled right in my fingers as the first time I tried to put them on. As you can see, they are not on this model. And I probably wouldn't use them anyway because I take off from grass. But I'm just saying that those wheel pants are made out of really crappy stuff that I don't see how anybody could ever have it last more than just maybe a couple flights, even if they're able to get it on in the first place. Another issue, and by the way, they're using the same plastic right here on the cowling. This thing's crumbling off. I used to kind of glue them back on sometimes. A lot of times they'd pop off and I'd glue them back on, and couldn't really keep those on too well. Another issue that you wouldn't think would be a problem is these screws here holding the cowling on. Believe it or not, those things were just screwed into balsa wood, and you couldn't keep them on there. They were going to come out all the time. They were going to strip out and come out, and that was just the end of it. The top one, fortunately, was reinforced and strong enough by them. The bottom ones were not, so I was able to reinforce them, double thick them, make them double thick, and solve that problem. Another problem, which was even worse than that, is the landing gear. Now these are really nice landing gear, in my opinion. I mean, they really hold, probably one of the better pairs that I have on planes. And but as you can see here, maybe I can go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. That is welded there. We did that, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, first off, you know, when I started in on this hobby, you didn't really, I mean, the planes that I flew in this hobby anyway, you didn't have to make your own landing gear. I have since learned that some people, when they got into the hobby, they had to learn how to make their own landing gear. That was never true for me. I started with Eagle 2, it already had its landing gear. I had the Hog biplane, already had its landing gear. I could just go on and on and on and on and on. Every plane I ever had already had its own landing gear. But on this particular airplane, they did not have the wheels lining up properly with the front of the wing. You know, the center of the wheel lining up with the front of the wing. And because of that, I would always end up doing nose overs, especially when my fuel tank is full. And that was a big problem when you're trying to take off. So then I had to start using high rates on the elevator. I had to create my own high rate on the elevator just so I could get off the ground. And then I had to try to kick it down to their rate to fly it. And that was kind of a pain. But anyway, I was finally told by a guy online that what I needed to do was make new landing gear that lines up properly with the front of the wing. So what we ended up doing is breaking their weld and re-welding them, and that solved that problem. Another issue this plane has is that on this particular model anyway, the wings didn't line up properly, and I had to put extra pegs in the wings to help hold their alignment a little better. So, you know, there's been a few things. And recently I've been told that down here in the cockpit, if I got enough light out here, it's kind of dark out here right now. Recently I've been told that on this servo right here that I ought to slot this and move him over so that I can be in a closer hole here so that this particular servo can operate so it doesn't have to be, you know, adjusted way down low to get the proper throw. And their system is a dual rod system that forces that to be right in the middle of the plane, like that. And since it's an ARF model, of course, you know, changing that would be, well, how much cutting into your model would you want to do to change, you know, the push rod system, you know. I was recently told that I didn't have that thing straight up and down. By the way, I fixed that. It is straight up and down now. Well, you in the forums will know what I'm talking about. But anyways, but yeah, those are some of the issues this model has. Now, I am assuming that a lot of people are flying this thing on electric. And so the landing gear thing probably wasn't a big deal on the electric people, for the electric people. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see how the wheels are lined up with the front there. So anyway, that's all I got for now. Thanks.